And so I tell everybody that Illini Esports is whatever you want to make it out to be, right? If you just want a place to hang out and chill and play games with friends, you can find it. If you want to be able to compete at a higher level, you can be able to find that. If you want to have a place that talks about recent game updates, you can find that. If you want a place that is, hey, you want to put in time and effort into volunteering for a club because you want to design pins or merchandise, or you want to be a student leader, for example, that's also there, right? But if you also just want to be like, hey, I just want to come to one event per every semester, that's also fine. We accept anybody of any skill level, rank level, size level, whatever that it may be, basically, and just say, hey, this is a place for esports, gaming, whatever you want to call it, as a way to be able to grow. But it's up to you to be able to put in whatever you want to get out of it, right? So. My name is AJ Taylor, also known as Sink Ships. I'm the president of Illini Esports. I've been president for the past 4 years. I am also a fifth-year Ph.D. candidate in food science, human nutrition, with research on cocoa and chocolate, which I'm always happy to talk about. But my role at Illini Esports kind of deals as the president in and of itself, but that breaks down into, looking over the club, deciding the direction of the club, looking at aspects, whether it's community, competitive, multimedia, graphic design, videography, et cetera, just having my hand involved in all of the aspects of the club, or as much as I can possible, and trying to get rid of roadblocks or things that could be in the way for either my players, my students, my people, whoever that they may be, and then setting up what I think that the future directions should be. So working with sponsors if need be, or looking at cases of saying, like, laying down foundations that could be reproducible results for the next year, stuff like that. So it's a variety of different things. It's having to learn a little bit of pretty much everything that's out there, instead of specializing just in one thing. But, we do what we can. I graduated from my undergraduate and then went into, master's program and found out that Illini Esports existed here at the university. And they were looking for league coaches to help out with their, JV and varsity teams, quote unquote. And we say JV and varsity, and that was just the terminology at the time. It's not an actual JV varsity, but we wanted to kind of really get involved from that. So I tried out for the team. I wasn't able to get into the C team, unfortunately, because people in this talent was like high diamond to master, grandmaster, challenger now at this point. And so I said, okay, if I'm not able to get onto the team as a player, I'm going to get onto the team as a coach and just kind of lead these, younger undergraduates as best as I can. So that's kind of how I got involved with Illini Esports, but also how I got involved with Collegiate Esports is starting off as a league coach, basically, and did that for, I think, 3 years overall. And we ended up winning Collegiate Star League way back when. We got second place in Collegiate Star League, and then we got I think it was third in NACE when they kind of combined together. And there's a whole bunch of other stupid accolades like Upsurge and esports organizations that no longer exist anymore or are not as they got conglomerated into different things. But it was one of those things that I really enjoyed the time and effort and teaching and coaching as a person. But for then Illini Esports, they had a lot of people, they had a lot of ideas, they had a lot of understanding, but they didn't know what the direction of where they wanted to go with. And so I joined on as a fundraising coordinator for Illini Esports because they started with $300 in their bank account. And the semester that I came on, I helped raise $500 by just doing bake sale and t-shirt sales and Kung Fu Tea, which is a local boba shop type thing, and all these other just small stuff here or there to try and help us get some money to raise for our people, because we couldn't pay players, we couldn't get them to go to a tournament, we couldn't cover hotel fees or entry fees, or we couldn't we could barely even cover jersey costs, if at all that, right? And so I wanted to make sure that if there was a player, they felt safe and secure, and the ability to, if they were invited to go to Purdue or Wisconsin or wherever, that they had some sort of funding or some sort of way to be able to get there. And so I raised, $500 at that. And after that, I was asked if I wanted to go and try out for president. I ended up trying out for president and stuck with it and actually became president, and have worked on Illini Esports for the past 4 years, but overall have raised about, $65,000, I think, overall in the past 4 years. I started in COVID year. I worked a lot with sponsors. I tried to engage our social media and content team. I've been trying to, get us into first places and certain things and just advocating more for our students, but also leading big events like Illini Esports Invitational. That was our first invitational where we had like $20,000 prize pool across 4 different tournaments. So it was $5,000 each. But like held that in our basketball arena, which had never been done before. Put on make-a-thons, and it's kind of like a hackathon if you've ever done one before, but if not, it's very similar to have a project or an idea and then having a weekend to be able to do it, and just hosting LANs where we had almost up to 400 people come out to just a fun community LAN, basically, and just doing anything that I could possible to push Illini Esports to represent it at a bigger case and try to exponentially grow ourselves. And now we can safely, like, if a player or a bunch of players wanted to go to a tournament in Wisconsin or Tennessee or wherever, right? Like, we can help cover for their hotel and their gas and their, entry fee, and maybe, if there's something else that our community needs, like if they want gift cards for hosting a tournament or a prize pool or whatever, like we have the resources to be able to do that. But also then, like, we're starting to look in, like we have jerseys that we can be able to work on. We have aspects where our teams are getting leadership positions and able to like lead their own organization or small like teams or manage or whatever else matter, right? And so it's building up a lot of characteristics. And then we did a mentorship program and whatever else matter, right? So I was just trying to get my hands onto anything and everything possible that I thought would be worthwhile and useful for Illini Esports as a program in and of itself. Yeah, so right now we're just a registered student organization, or what we call an RSO, which is basically just a club in and of itself. We've been working hard in a variety of different areas, and I would say consistently we have, if we go off of our Discord number, I think that we have like 4,000 people in our Discord, but as with most major Discords, the majority of those people are probably not that active necessarily, but our events are pretty massive. Like our last event that we've had, our LAN, we actually had about 450 people come out to it. A lot of it did come for Genshin, which is totally fine. But yeah, like having a 450 person community LAN is, I think, a pretty big deal, right? We've had a Worlds viewing party for League of Legends Worlds Finals, and that I think we got up to like 1,200 people in State Farm Center. So that was like a lot of fun to be able to see. State Farm Center is our basketball arena, and so it's one of those things where it's like there is consistent growth every, I would say, what we call quad day, which is like the day before classes start. All of the clubs come out to the quad and, hey, come join our club, blah, blah, blah. So we see a growth of people, and slowly but surely, and this I think happens with every collegiate esports or just every club, is people get more and more busy with other things, so it kind of tapers out necessarily. But you just want to capture those people that are active and amazing and worthwhile, that really want to put time and effort into it. So a lot of it is talking with my board of directors, which is like we have a director of competitive community operations, multimedia, moderation, and event logistics. And so it's meeting with those people every probably 2 weeks, except for our multimedia person I meet with, try to do like every other week or like every week separately than the director board. And that's just saying like, hey, competitive, what do we need? What's the problems? What's been going on? What are the competitive players? We have contracts that we send out to players. Have they signed all of them? We need to make sure that, oh, hey, we're looking to open up and work with this new space that could be a potential place, let's figure out logistics for that. Whereas community, it's like, hey, what community tournaments are going on? What events are happening? And it's kind of just listening to their small reports and then giving feedback, ideas, things that they need to be pushing forward. For example, like if let's say a community coordinator is not doing their job, right? Then the community director comes to me and says, hey, this person's not been doing their job. What do you think that I should do? So I work with them as more of a professional standpoint to be like, hey, here's how we can, tackle these problems. Or, hey, our director of operations is leading our mentorship program. Hey, I haven't checked in with the mentorship program. How's it doing? How many students we have? What mentors do we have? Oh, you need mentors for the next time? Cool. I have all this network that I've done for the past 4 years that I can rely on, all these people that have esports experience and are professional shoutcasters or work with an esports team or was a data analyst or something like that, right? And so it's connecting those people with that. So it's literally, as I was saying at the beginning, it's very much having a hand in everything, but also then like if there's problems that occur, then I try to make it as like I'm the top dog in the aspect of like, this is our decision. And of course, I listen to everybody as much as possible and try to be as unbiased as possible. But like, I try to say like, oh, okay, here's the next initiative, or here's the next thing that we're going to be putting our resources and effort into, and here's the big goal necessarily, right? To try to have something new every single year, and then just trying to check up on people, push things along, bump message boards, or keep track of the whirling things that can go on in either my head or their heads, or be like, hey, we mentioned this one thing, something ever happen with that? Did we ever follow up with that? Like what ended up happening with that? Like that type of stuff. So yeah, it really is just having my hand in as much as possible and trying to help out where I can. It's really crazy to think of, because for years, we as Illini Esports have kind of felt, I'll say ignored, but maybe that's not the word necessarily. Like, we always felt like we were at the lowest priority when it came to the university, right? And just felt that when it came to like, we tried to push for getting a space, we tried to push for scholarships, we tried to push for help in helping us even to pay for jerseys, for example, right? I mean, we can't even put the Illinois logo on our jerseys because it's a licensing, branding, marketing thing that we have to have a separate logo, right? And so it's one of those things where it's like, pushing for those things and always getting told no, or always getting rejected, or told, oh, maybe, but maybe not, and oh, like trying to get your hopes up and then never, everything falls through. It's just, it's very disheartening, if that makes sense, right? And so it's one of those things of, at the end of the day, the biggest thing that I want is I don't even care if I win. I really don't. What I care more so about is that Illini Esports gets the recognition that it deserves, not only as a group, but as the people that are in it besides myself, right? Like, I appreciate that I get nominated for Student Leader of the Year, but like, it all goes to the rest of my club members that make it up, because I can't do everything. I've tried to do everything. It doesn't work. And it doesn't, like, and any single collegiate esports president can and probably vouch for this exact same idea. You do so much. You put in so much time and effort and things into the club itself, and you will get burnt out. And I cannot say that enough, but the problem is, at the end of the day, the bottom line, somebody's got to do it, right? The poster has to get made. They have to go get printed. Somebody has to go do that, right? And so that typically always falls on the president. And that's what happened 2 years ago, is that I didn't know how to delegate. And I still kind of honestly don't always know how to delegate. But like 2 years ago, I really didn't know how to delegate, and trying to balance that and a PhD at the exact same time was so difficult and very, like, I just felt like, blech, like you just couldn't do anything. And so, not having the university recognize us, having that feeling of like kind of being burnt out and not knowing if I'm doing the best that I can, like hoping that I'm doing it, obviously, but like not knowing if everybody also sees the same direction and goal line that I'm thinking of. And to feel some sort of validation that people saw that and wanted me to receive some sort of nomination, that's what I appreciate. But it really should be reflecting on the rest of Illini Esports and not just myself, right? Like, I'm not the one that shows up to the event by myself. Like, it's everybody else, right? I'm not the one that's always running everything. I try to help out where I can, but like for our LAN event, that was our director of community, and I got to give her props. So I hope that, if I happen to win this, it's not just me happening to win this, but it's the rest of Illini Esports that also deserves this exact same sort of, recognition and understanding, as it comes down to it. We're tired of our university ignoring us. And so if we can really say that on this huge stage that's supposed to be the esports awards of the entire year, and the biggest thing in the industry necessarily, to say that we have, at least for this year, the best club or the best student leader or whatever else you want to call it, like, that validation feels so much for us and helps. Hopefully somewhere in the administration, somebody's like, oh my God, look at this thing. This is so cool, right? We've had alumni that have reached out to us simply because they saw our team playing on the League of Legends Collegiate, Championship Series, the, Call of Duty Championship, or not Championship, the playoffs that we recently had. Like, we've had people that have reached out to us because they saw our club at that level, right? And so, like, if this is supposed to be all of esports, quote unquote, watching the esports awards, and to see the collegiate club of the year, the collegiate student leader of the year, and to see it coming from Illini Esports, like, it can only push us further, that more and more alumni or more people can be like, oh my gosh, look at this person, look at this team, look at this organization. This needs to be supported more from the university, because every other school seems to be supporting it. So what are we doing, guys? The amount of people that I have met just through collegiate esports, whether it's people that I saw we would face against each other, or other presidents that I've talked with, other club presidents necessarily, or just other people that I've connected through for professional esports organizations, or whatever it may be, like the people that I've met for collegiate esports, you just see how much time, effort, blood, sweat, tears that goes into it just organically, right? And that's why I always say that collegiate esports will be the thing that stays around no matter what happens, because there's always just this love, this passion, this like endearing facilities that will always happen. Not because some university put millions and millions of dollars into their esports program or whatever else matter, but it's because students always want to build something. They want to, put their own space. They want to build that community and have other people that love talking about esports, right? Like, the amount of times that we've had people that are like, hey, I don't know much about this game. Can I learn about it, or can you teach me, just at one of our events, has been crazy to see, right? And you just, having like 2 a.m. watch party in a basketball arena with a giant jumbotron, watching things from Korea or China or wherever that it was, like seeing all these other, like 500, 600,000 other people all in the same space is so cool to me, right? And then not only that, but then to have, like, if our video team makes a recap of it, they're like, I can always relive those exact same moments that we were seeing, and there's nothing that's going to be able to take that away from me, right? And so collegiate esports is such a passion, a love staking process. I love it so much. I hate it as well, right? I hate it because of a variety of different reasons, but like, I feel like everybody does. And so the whole point for collegiate esports is that it's like, it's something that is so ingrained, into my personality, that even if I get done, like once I get done at the end of the year or school year necessarily, like, I still want to be able to be involved. I still want to be able to be a resource or a guide, or to help other programs, or if I move somewhere else, then I'm going to try to help out over there if I can. Or, esports in a broader term, I'm going to try to do what I can to the broader esports groups if I can, right? I'm never going to go into esports in terms of like a professional job or anything else matter, unfortunately, but like, it's something that if I was in the same position I was when I was like an undergrad, then it would be like the area I would want to go to, Being a PhD is a little bit, like going through a master's in food science and PhD in food science and a bachelor's in biochemistry. It's a little bit kind of like, okay, kind of sunk in a lot of time and effort into this, and I really love it. Like, it's another one, it's my other passion as well. The biggest thing is to ask, right? Like, so many people, the people that have come before you and will come after you will all need to learn the same things, right? Like, when I came on for president, I didn't know what a deliverable was. Couldn't tell you at the time, right? Couldn't tell you what it meant to sign a sponsorship contract. Couldn't tell you what it meant to set up a bank account when it came to, not my own personal bank account, but a bank account for an organization, right? I could not tell you how to make a social media post. I still probably can't, honestly, but like, I couldn't tell you exactly how to do it, right? I couldn't tell you how to run a LAN event. I couldn't tell you how to run a watch party. I couldn't tell you how to handle all of these other different things that came down to it, because you don't have those experiences, right? You just, it's not a typical thing that, oh, hey, a player was caught saying some bad words. What do you do, right? Like, that's not something that you typically handle. But, now I've had that experience, and I've had that understanding and that training, and that I've done this for so long that I know how to really be able to kind of work with it or deal with it or handle it. And so as a collegiate esports leader, like, talking with the people that have come before you, or trying to figure out, from alumni or other collegiate esports organizations, like, I've talked with so many other club leaders from, okay, have you had this problem? What did you do with this? Okay, I see you're doing this. Can I ask you about that? I saw on, LinkedIn that you were doing this. Can you tell me more about that? Literally, the amount of people that I've reached over in LinkedIn or Twitter or just Discord and been like, hey, I know this is a bit random. I'm having a problem with this. Do you mind explaining this to me? Like, or telling me what you did with this? Or, oh, okay, could you set up a call for 30 minutes so I could just kind of run some ideas through you? Like, people in collegiate esports, I will give the benefit of the doubt, for the most part, are very, very nice. They are going to try to give as much as, advice or help as they can possible. Obviously, there's some people that are out there that may or may not, right? But, like, I can always say that if anybody ever wants to reach out to me and says, hey, I'm having some trouble with my collegiate esports organization, what can I do? I am more than happy to be, like, sitting down and be like, okay, here's what I see. Let's go through the thing. Let's go through the process. I've literally done it, like, 5 times by this point, actually. And just helping out other people because it's such a big thing. So the biggest thing is to ask, and if you don't know who to ask, just look up resources, guideline, Google everything. What is the deliverable? Or, talk with people and figure things out. And that's the biggest thing that I can say, at least for advice for that. If you want stupid stuff about esports, League of Legends, chocolate, food science, etc., I sync ships. That's SYNC, like syncing something together. Sync ships, or Instagram. I don't really use it, but I'll follow you back and watch your stories and comment every now and then on those things. But yeah, if you want deranged thoughts and just random things, Twitter is the biggest thing. Otherwise, Discord is just regular sync ships without the I on it, unfortunately. I think, Discord doesn't have numbers now. You can also join discord.gg/Illini Esports. I'll probably still be in there at some point. Yeah. Discord.gg/Illini Esports. You'll find me on there and be able to ask me any questions that you want possible. I'm more than happy to do so.